Thinking that we already know often takes us away from our opportunity to truly know something. And I think that it gets somewhat easy to lose track of yourself and lose track of your own journey and your own longevity and your inability to see the ways in which your discomfort with the unknown or discomfort with what you don't know is representative of your discomfort with the parts of yourself you don't know. And I think it's important to recognize that letting go is the only way to remain. And everything is unknown in a real sense. We have to learn to really just keep moving forward through whatever is unknown in order to get to know it. The only way to actually experience an experience is to be there to experience it. The only way to figure out something about something is to interact with that something or find someone who has interacted with that something. And I think, in my experience, especially recently, the whole idea of the unknown or the whole idea of coming into that is a lot more of a beautiful thing. Not necessarily just because of the perspective I have of it, but I think just in thinking of the unknown as, not knowing what's going to happen in a positive light. Like saying, I don't know what today has in store for me in a positive light. In a way of saying, I'm ready for whatever it is. In a way of saying, I love myself enough to be where I am and actually experience this life I'm living. I think when we allow ourselves to do that, life is less of a, intense acting performance so much as it is just a game that we're playing. And it's important to someone recognize that life is a game that we're playing, not necessarily in the sense of things aren't serious, in a sense of things you shouldn't care about things or your people or whatever, but in the sense of saying you have to learn when to or whenever you have the opportunity to meet life where it is instead of meeting life in the abstractions of your own mind. And when I say abstractions of your own mind, I mean in our thoughts, in our negative feelings about certain things, and in our negative feelings about ourselves. Like I'm getting really good, I feel, at being able to bring myself back to the moment after feeling something negative, after feeling a feeling that takes me away from the moment. And like I can see the instant it's taking me away from the moment, the instant I'm losing focus of what is around me, and I just get taken into my mind. I get taken into the feeling that is sort of overly perpetuated in both my actions and in my feelings at the moment. And I think we have to learn how to pinpoint certain things like that and learn how to exist within the unknown when it comes to that. And oftentimes it's anxiety about the future or anxiety about what is yet to come. Our constant thoughts about the future and whatnot. And I think it's important to sort of just not necessarily disregard any caution we have, but sort of let it go. Or sort of let us go into that. Let us go into the moment. Truly recognize that we have to learn to occupy the space that we're taking up in a real sense in order to utilize it. And, any abstraction or any overzealous thought about anything is probably not worthwhile. If all you could do is think about it, it's probably not worth thought. And that's why I feel like it's important to be present, important to be where you are and learn to sort of constantly let go of your need for things to be a certain way for you to be a certain way. I think a lot of our worries are sort of grounded in this idea that we're going to change or we're worried about our feelings about a certain situation, but we're the ones who get to dictate that. And if the situation or something has not occurred yet, then there's no point in already feeling it, ahead of time, especially when it's negative. I feel like positively, it's important to feel things ahead of time sometimes. Like just excitement for your day, excitement to be here, excitement to sort of be alive and ground your excitement not in expectation of things to go your way or in things to look super good for you in the day, but things to allow you to remain in the day, allow you to keep being present in just being yourself and just virtue of just being alive. I think that is one of the most beautiful things. And recently, I think I've been able to experience that to a good extent. Um, just giving myself a true opportunity to actually be present. And it wasn't until I stopped thinking about um, how everything sort of relates to the future, or relates to the past, or relates to this, relates to that. Allowing myself to get caught in the ebbs and flows of our idea of time, and sort of allowing myself to truly be in the moment and present, in a sense of being able to experience who I am, recognizing that I'm not here to be experienced. I'm here to experience. I am the experience that I'm sort of looking for. I think everybody's the experience that they're looking for, and that's what I meant in the video. You're what you're waiting for. I feel like you have to learn to experience life as yourself, because you are yourself, and this is your life to live. And I think that's what I really am meaning by being present and sort of walking into the unknown. And I'm so happy that I was able to finally get to that point. It's about you experiencing you. You understanding your own humor. And that's what it means by laughing at your own humor. Understanding the way at which you look at the world and making it accommodate you. In a sense of you being able to derive positivity from what you're looking at, regardless of what it is. And I think a lot of times we allow certain situations to harbor a certain amount of negativity, and we allow ourselves to carry that. We allow ourselves to get so caught up in the sort of game that's being played, to the point where we forget we're playing it. And we start to play our role so fervently that we put on this grand performance, and then we get tired of performing for other people. And that's why I think it's important to give yourself an audience, so you no longer need to perform. Just allowing yourself to truly be the subject of whatever it is you're doing. Not in the sense of constantly thinking about you, but allowing yourself to be there, and not necessarily being worried about the opinions of others or the opinions of anything. Like recently, I don't know, maybe it was just yesterday, maybe blah, blah, blah. But I was at a pretty deep social event, and, it was like I wasn't worried about a single perspective in that room. And it wasn't in the sense of I didn't care about, those people or anything like that. It was in a sense of I'm experiencing me. And that's all I need to think about. That's all I need to do. And I wasn't even thinking about like, oh, I'm experiencing myself. I was just there. I was just doing what I felt. I was following how I felt, following my thought process, following this, following that. And I think it's important for all of us to sort of have a sense of our own thought process, or a sense of our own perspective, so we can actually traverse the world in a way that accommodates us. So we can actually create these fail safes within our heads, and catch ourselves whenever we're falling into the loops of our own mental anguish. And what I mean by that is being able to catch yourself when you're thinking something negative. And it's about, for me, recognizing that everything I think is not characteristic of what I am. They say, as a man thinketh, so shall he be. But that's just in reference to our repetitive thoughts, and how we allow them to trickle down into our subconscious. And that only happens when we allow ourselves to truly get caught by the thought. And what I'm talking about is more so observing the thought, truly observing the thought, allowing yourself to experience you while experiencing a thought, an aspect of the whole experience, and somewhat choosing your state, like continuing to be happy, continuing to remain as you are while having that thought about whatever it is, and it's going to go away. It's going to go, if it has a negative charge, it's going to go away, because it's not here. It's not here. That's why I think it's so important for people to sort of understand, the present moment has a lot of peace to it, because it's does not contain any of the anxiety or fear we feel from the past or for the future. It doesn't contain it, because there's no reason for it to be here. There's nothing for me to fear in this moment where I am right now. So there's no point in me perpetuating some fear into a day I have no knowledge about, the unknown. And that's not to say don't be cautious. The world is somewhat a dangerous place in a lot of places. And I'm not saying go out there blindly and don't care about whatever is going to happen because you're present and there's no reason to fear, blah, blah, blah. Fear is a chemical reaction in your brain that is necessary for your survival. It's not just there for no reason. And when I say that, I'm not saying give in to fear. I'm saying recognize the specific instances when it's actually applicable. But oftentimes our fear is uncharacteristic of those applicable times. We fear going out in public. We fear other people's perspectives. We fear our own perspectives. We fear, just overall expression of ourselves in the world. And we fear being seen a lot of times because we fail to see ourselves. And I think that's what it means to give yourself the opportunity to truly be seen and give yourself audience. Make it so you don't need other people's validation and support in a way in order to support who you are. And that's not to say don't appreciate the support. It's not to say don't take the support. It's to say support yourself while being supported or not being supported. You're the person that's with you 100% of the time. And if you're experiencing you, then your help of you would probably be a good thing to experience. Your self-love of you would probably be a good thing to experience. Because if you are the thing that you're experiencing and you're filling yourself with love, then your experience is going to be filled with that love that you give to yourself. That's why I feel like it's always important to start with you at your foundation, because you are your foundation. You are pretty much everything you experience. We go into these certain situations, we go out into the world, and the first thing we always experience is going to be ourselves. You get in some type of argument, you get in some type of altercation, you get in some type of this, some type of that, some type of whatever. If you have a thought before your interaction, you first experience it yourself. If you have a feeling before the interaction, the first thing you're experiencing is yourself. Not in the sense of the thing isn't causing you to feel like that, but how you feel is often characteristic of your perspective or characteristic of what you experienced in the past. And if you don't allow yourself to be present, then all it is just in reference to what you think you've already experienced. And that's why I feel like it's important to treat each day like it's new and treat each moment like it's new in a real sense, so you can be new with the moment. Being able to sort of transform your own qualities and characteristics, not in the sense of changing who you are entirely, but in the sense of allowing yourself to be there entirely. So you can actually walk through the world as you and experience what it means to be you. I don't think anybody else can do that for you, and I don't think anyone should do that for you. I think the most beautiful aspects of life are being able to live life, being able to be the one to live it too. And I feel like you can't live your life as long as you're stuck in your head. You can't live in the world if you're always going to live in your mind. And I think the mind is a beautiful thing. I think the mind is a beautiful tool for us to use. But as long as we allow it to sort of pilot our ship, in a sense of us not actually being mindful of our thoughts and conscious of what we're feeding ourselves, then we're constantly just going to be looped into whatever we're fed. And what we're being fed by, what social media in general, maybe our parents, maybe our friends, maybe our families, is not always befitting for us. And I'm not saying, be narcissistic and just say, well, I know myself, I know this, I'm just going to go out on my own way and I know it's going to da-da-da. I mean, to some extent, that might work for some people, but I think it's more important to be honest with yourself whenever those situations arise. Being honest with your own mentality and perspective. And I think sometimes that takes you talking to other people to understand the contrast in perspective. Not saying just adopt whatever someone else says, but being able to open your perspective up to new possibilities, both for your benefit and for not your detriment, but in caution and preparation for what is yet to come. I think that's sort of the key to allowing yourself to continue to be in the moment. Because I feel like being in the moment isn't something we rush to get to, isn't something we have to try to get to, it's something we have to allow ourselves to be in. It's about you letting yourself go enough to be here. Letting that's actually a crazy paradox, but you have to let yourself go in order to be here. There is no here to be in if you don't let yourself go. Because the second we're holding on to some sort of identity, second we're holding on to some sort of mental, you know, toughness, is the second we're in the mental. Is the second we're in our minds about something. If we're in some situation and we think that, we need to be confident, we need to be this, we need to be, and you're just thinking, be confident, be confident, be confident, be confident. You're in your head already. And I guarantee anyone who's had a situation like that, because I have, it doesn't necessarily help. It just perpetuates the issue because it enforces the idea that that confidence isn't already here where it needs to be. The best way to attack is playing no defense. It's about letting yourself go, because if you already had it, you wouldn't need to do that. And if you want to already have it, or if you want to at least embody that and feel that, then it's about letting yourself go of your previous definition so you can have that now. It's not like you have to, incrementally, day by day, build this up. Like, yes, that helps. That it helps overall with it, of course. But it's not something I feel like is quantifiable by some sort of daily progression, daily this, daily that. I feel like your progression as a person shouldn't be put on a scale. Some days you can grow this much in your patience. Some days you might grow just a little bit. But it's not about how much. It's about how and if any. And I think that's sort of the importance. Is sort of allowing yourself to be in the unknown and appreciating pretty much every experience that comes with it. I feel like that's what sort of tunes to life's beauty and allows things to be in a sort of better light. And if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. I hope everyone is taking care of themselves to a great extent. Life is full of ups and downs, and you shouldn't let yourself be one of them. So thank you. Keep being great.